Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.
Good evening and welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and it's great to be back with you this Tuesday evening. As you know, we cover a range of topics that are valuable to entrepreneurs and business owners. And actually, really the key is helping you to become a better leader, because at the end of the day, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. So developing your leadership skills, developing your perspective, your knowledge is going to help you be more successful in business. That's why we bring successful leaders in to share some of their strategies, their expertise, to give you ideas and insights about how to run your business more effectively. So this week, very excited about our guest, Ayo Sanderson Wilson. She is the CEO, founder, and president of Empower the Village, and we're going to talk about accelerating economic empowerment. I always say that, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, that nonprofits are actually businesses as well. And, nonprofit businesses tend to be even more difficult to run than a regular business. But my guest, Ayo Sanderson Wilson, has shown that she can do that very effectively. So she will have a lot of great things to share to help you get some insight about how to be more successful and really about economic growth and some of the key strategies and components that are needed for it to happen. So let me invite Ayo on right now. Good evening, Ayo. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. Good evening, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. I'm glad to have you here. We finally got you on the show. It's been over a year. I've been working on you, so you finally gave in. So thank you for joining me this evening.
Absolutely. It's been great to work with you throughout the last 2 years. I'm excited to be on your show.
Yeah, no, it's been tremendous to work with you as well, to see your organization grow and develop and really take on a life of its own, having an impact and really determining the niche for you and attacking it. So I think that's great and look forward to chatting about that today. Before we get started, we know each other, but the audience doesn't necessarily know you. So what I'd like to do is if you can take a few minutes, talk a little bit about your journey, some key milestones and insights, and then we'll come back and talk more about economic empowerment through entrepreneurship. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I guess I'll first share that I'm a native New Yorker. I've lived in New Jersey since, 1995. So I got married and moved here, but I grew up in New York. I am the daughter of a serial entrepreneur, as well as an educator. And that certainly influenced my path ultimately, but never thought it would at the beginning. I started in second grade thinking about becoming an attorney and advocating for people, love people, love to advocate for what I think is right. And so was planning to practice law, which I did do. So I went off to college down at Johns Hopkins, and then came back to New York for law school at Columbia, and set off with my legal career as a litigator, and intended to ultimately become a judge. Enjoyed a great career practicing law, but what I found that I enjoyed more was working within my community. So spent a lot of time on different boards as volunteer, and ultimately realized that I loved that more than I loved practicing law, and particularly giving back to my community. So transitioned my corporate career at a couple of Fortune 100 and 500 companies as an attorney, but then always kind of dragged to the business side by the leadership because I love that side of what they were doing, as well as just advising on the legal issues. But ultimately felt like it was time for me to figure out how to give back. And before I decided to start a nonprofit, I actually transitioned to work in corporate philanthropy so I could learn about how organizations get money and support from the big dogs, so to speak, and what they were looking for. So I had the fortune to work at a large pharmaceutical company and run their philanthropy program and their partnerships with nonprofits, and then ultimately with a telecom and cable company, and was in charge of their foundation and giving, strategic partnerships and whatnot. Left corporate America, happy to say, went from the dark side of practicing law and went to work at a nonprofit that I served on the board of. So I had some experience as the chief operating officer of a nonprofit that was around for over 100 years. So I learned a lot during that opportunity, and then ultimately started my own nonprofit in 2018, Empower the Village, which is a nonprofit that's focused on restoring prosperity, peace, and power to the Black community.
Excellent. Great story, and it's only, maybe halfway through. So looking forward to seeing where you go from here. But many huge lessons in the process, I'm sure you've learned. One thing that you mentioned that was kind of interesting is you actually went to work for a nonprofit before you started yours. And
Absolutely.
I actually recommend that to a lot of business owners, because especially if you're going into business, if you want to get financing, if you don't have any industry experience, it's extremely difficult. But also, talk a little bit about how that helped you to be able to be more successful with your with the Empower the Village, and how you were able to, turn that into greater success faster and easier.
Yeah. So I definitely always believe in doing your homework, making sure that you're fully informed about what it is you want to take on, whether it's business or anything else in life. So for me, when I decided that I wanted to start my own nonprofit, as you said, my first step was, well, let's see what existing nonprofits are doing. And frankly, after watching how some of them handle support from corporations and how they manage their programs, I felt like I had the tools from a strategic standpoint, from a business standpoint, from an analytical standpoint, to really do the job well. So I definitely believe in, learn as much as you can about what it is you want to do before you jump in and do it. And so for me, that journey included serving as a volunteer for a couple of decades with different nonprofits, ultimately serving on the boards of nonprofits, and then, like I said before, giving money away strategically through corporate philanthropy. So I learned a lot about what worked and what didn't work because I was responsible for evaluating the work of different nonprofits and, frankly, watching their successes, but also some of their hiccups and, the challenges they had connecting sometimes with the audiences that they were serving, and felt like, one of the ways to make sure we make progress is that the people in charge of the progress are connected to the communities that they serve and really understand not, what the needs are, but also what the solutions are and how to be strategic about formulating and executing on those solutions. So I think my corporate experience, my experience as an attorney, all helped. And unbeknownst to me, I was building my own village at that time that was going to set me on a path for success.
Okay, excellent. So, your journey, like mine, I started out in fourth grade with a paper route, went into corporate, did a whole bunch of things, And, sometimes you end up where you started. You just didn't realize that that was your mission and your calling, and you had to go away from it to really appreciate it coming back. So definitely.
Yeah, interesting you should say that, because when I was starting to think about, I had my mini midlife crisis. I'm in the second half of my century. So at the end of the first half of my century, I was reaching out to my dad and, having this moment where I was driving away from a board meeting, and I was helping this particular nonprofit merge with some of the other chapters. And I was so excited and enjoying that work so much. And the closer I drove to get to my legal job at a corporation that I won't name, great company. But as I was driving there, I felt the energy start to drain out of me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And I realized, that it was time for me to really figure out what my purpose, what my passion was. And spoke to my dad, because I'm a daddy's girl. So called him and said, I know I'm supposed to be doing something. What is that thing I'm supposed to be doing? And just like a fortune cookie, my dad said, whatever it is you were meant to do, you've always been doing it. You just didn't know that that was your calling. And so, I went down a lot of different paths and trying to figure out what that was, which was very entertaining for my family. But ultimately came to the conclusion that I was put here to help people and to use my strengths and my experiences to figure out how to do that.
Okay, excellent. So, definitely that's hugely important. So, we're going to talk, really about what you're doing now, how you've successfully implemented, some of the things you've learned in the process. But before we do that, we're going to take a little break.
Okay.
I'm going to share a few things to put on your calendar coming up. So, as you know, been doing Power Breakfast events for entrepreneurs and business owners for over 10 years. And we have something coming up in October. So first off, we're going to do a power networking evening on October 26th. We're going to do it at Montclair Brewery. So I invite you to join us there, and I'll put the link in the chat so that if you want to register early and get better pricing, you're welcome to do that. We usually do that the night before our Power Breakfast. So our Power Breakfast is going to be on Friday, October 27th. Our featured guest speaker is going to be Terry Travick, and we're going to be talking about creating the ultimate business strategy. And very excited about having Terry join us. So those of you who haven't been to a Power Breakfast, I'll show you a quick video about the Power Breakfast and just give you a quick intro to Terry Travick to get a feel for how powerful that event is going to be. If you are looking to increase revenues, improve profitability, and or obtain financing for your business, you need to check out the Power Breakfast and Small Business Pro conferences. My name is Andrew Frazier. One of the things we're here to do is supercharge your day.
Today's Power Breakfast has really been a phenomenal experience. I think it's exactly what business owners need, some true guidance of people who are genuine and really are leading them in the true direction of business growth and expansion.
The Power Breakfast is so important for the entrepreneurial community because it gives the various business people who come together an opportunity to interact and also do some business.
These events, hosted by Andrew Frazier, President and COO of Small Business Like a Pro, will supercharge your day.
What does business strategy really mean to you?
Strategy, I try to make it as simple as possible. And I'll say strategy is simple, but it's not easy. To me, strategy is just answering the question of how you're going to accomplish your goals. A lot of people confuse goals with strategy. Once you figure out where it is you want to go, whether it's to start a new business, grow your business, optimize your business, whatever it is, strategy is really just answering, how am I going to get it done? Strategy is simply answering the question, how.
What else is needed in addition to strategy?
A lot of companies or a lot of small businesses, they go through the strategic planning process, but then they never use it. Getting your strategy in place is just step one. If you really want to make money and actually create a winning business, you have to put the execution plan in place as well.
What is a good example of what you've been able to do for people?
I've done myself, and I've also I've trained others on how to do it. At one point in my life, I was the global president for a financial services company. And in 3 years, we improved our profits by over $80 million. And then as a consultant, there's an example of a company I helped in Texas that was about an $8 million company 10 years ago. And organically, I've shown them and helped lead them to grow from an $8 million company to over $200 million today.
Okay. Welcome back to Leadership Live. I'm here with Ayo Sanderson Wilson, and we're talking small business. So Ayo, you have an organization that really is multifaceted, but I know that you've spent a lot of time developing your strategies around how you're going to run the business. And one of the things you developed is strategic pillars. Can you talk a little bit about what those are and how you really determine what are the right strategic pillars for you and your organization?
Absolutely. So, one of the things that's critically important for all businesses is to have that vision and mission statement. And so our pillars really come out of that. So our vision is to restore prosperity, peace, and power to the Black community. So it's no surprise that our pillars are prosperity, peace, and power. But what that really boils down to is advancing and enhancing the wealth, the health, and the empowerment of the community that we're serving. And so for us, it's critical to look at what is holding back the opportunity for, growth economically under the prosperity pillar for the community that we serve, what is affecting our peace and joy in this country. So we look at our health and wellness and our cultural and arts facets when it comes to peace and power. How do we engage civically? How do we control our own destiny? How do we rally to get the changes that we want and need? So, the vision statement and then the mission statement, which is about partnering with the community. Our name is Empower the Village, and we totally believe in the African proverb of it takes a village to empower the village. To do just about anything, you need to bring together everyone. So our strategy is very much steeped in these strategic partnerships and how to do the why and the how, like why are we in this situation and how do we get out of it? We do a lot of research. We conducted a 2-year listening tour to talk to the community we wanted to serve, multi-generational listening tour, listening to my parents and grandparents, my contemporaries, and my kids who are not kids, they're 20-something years old, to really gather a lot of information and research before we went about implementing or creating and developing programs. In addition to that, I think it's always important to bring in people who are smarter than you or different skill sets and experiences. So I have a fantastic board of directors and advisory council who really are always there for me. I can just pick up the phone and ask a question. We get together a couple of times a year and they keep us focused, and they also open up their networks to us. So all about having a clear vision and mission, and then making sure that all the work that you're doing is to help you execute against that.
Okay. No, that's excellent. You mentioned mission, vision, values. Most small businesses may not really have them or really haven't put the effort into doing them that is necessary. Most likely because they don't have an appreciation of what it really means to the success of your organization. But I know you spent a good amount of time doing that. And then also, so talk a little bit about what it took to figure out your mission, vision, values, share what they are. And then also if you can share, how has that directly benefited your organization in terms of your organization to be more successful versus had you not invested the time and energy into really doing it right?
I think clarity is key. If you're trying to start a business or you're trying to run a nonprofit and to support the community, you have to be very clear about what your objectives are in order to engage and encourage other people to get on board. So for me, clarity was very important. As I said, I spent a lot of time talking to the people that I wanted to serve to make sure I understood what their needs were, not just what I read somewhere. And we are a data-driven organization. So I think what differentiates us a little bit, or maybe a lot of it, is that we are not just guided by what's happening in the moment or our feelings about what the issues are. We do a lot of research and understand what the data says about the gaps and inequities that have to be addressed. So, it's so important to be clear about what you're trying to do, because opportunities, thankfully, will come around all the time, but you have to pick the right ones. And if you don't have a clear mission, a clear vision, it's hard to avoid wasting time. And you can become very inefficient. And then the people you are looking to follow you when you're leading are confused and, may fade away because they're not quite sure what you're trying to accomplish. So I'd say, spend a lot of time fine tuning that and getting other people to hear what it is you're trying to do and weigh in on what their thoughts are. So, I think that's just, ultimately what it's all about. So our vision, as I stated, was to restore prosperity, peace, and power to a particular community. And our mission is to empower the people in that community, individuals, businesses, and community organizations to realize their full potential. But doing that by partnering with the village itself, the community and its allies, to get the job done. So for us, it's so important that everyone knows what we're doing and why we're doing it, because we need them to execute against our vision and the opportunities that we have in front of us.
Okay, excellent. So, definitely, having a good vision, mission, and values is great, but it's even more important for everybody to know what they are and have consistency around that. And, really that is what empowers your organization. Not just empower the village, but any organization. It's important for everybody to know where you're going, what you're trying to do, how you're trying to do it, so that they can contribute to it and know how to contribute to it, know what should be done, what they can do to help, and be confident in it. So, definitely that was cool. You also mentioned that it gave you clarity, so that you could focus on what's the most important. And many times entrepreneurs and business owners lack that clarity because you have so many things going on. So it's hard to focus on and figure out sometimes what's most important. So going back to your mission and vision and values, I'm sure is helpful with that.
If I could just add to that, I mean, if you think about, just the words matter, right? I guess as a lawyer, I love words, right? I used to get paid by the words, so it seemed, but words matter. And so, when I think about, if you just break down, for example, our vision statement, right? So our target audience and knowing who your target audience is crucial. And for us, it's the Black community. So the question was, well, where is this community that you're trying to serve? So I've created a strategy around, okay, where are we going to do the work? What is the strategy to reach that audience? And based on the research and the data, it was very obvious after I created kind of a litmus test for where we would do the work. We came up with a 25-state strategy. So the reason for that is because I decided with the team that I was working with that we were going to focus on areas where we had average or above average representation of the community that we were serving. So in the United States, which is our main footprint right now, there are about 13 to 14% of the population is Black. And then we decided, well, the states that had at least average or above average representation would be the states we targeted, or if they had at least 500,000 Black residents. And what we discovered, we kind of backed into where to go to do the work, was that there are 25 states that meet that average representation. And therefore, we would do work there. And then we drill down further to say what counties within those states. So we do a lot of research and a lot of thinking about where to do the work. And then we look at the data on what to do as well.
Okay. And, you consider yourselves a data-driven nonprofit, which differentiates you a fair amount from most nonprofits. So, and even for most businesses, but, I'm always talking to businesses about, you gotta have goals and measure your performance against them. But you need data and information to set your goals, and to run your business by the numbers. So talk a little bit about why you decided to be a data-driven. What does that really mean as an organization? And, how that has helped you be able to run your business more successfully.
Absolutely. So I'm a results-oriented person, and we are a results-oriented organization. We believe in action. We're not about admiring problems. We're about getting under the hood and understanding the challenges that we face and what the solutions are, right? So if we're going to talk about prosperity in America, the data indicates and experience indicates that small business is the engine of wealth in America. And therefore, if we want to have prosperity in any given community, we've got to make sure we have a strong core of small businesses that are prospering, right? And so when we started looking at that, we looked at what can we do to ensure that these businesses in those communities that we're serving are doing well, because we know that that creates jobs, and we know that if they do well, they tend to give back to their communities. They are examples. They're kind of the modern day Harriet Tubmans, leading us to freedom, financial freedom and economic empowerment. So the first thing we did was say, okay, this is a cohort within the community, business owners and entrepreneurs who are taking risks because they know that there's opportunity for economic prosperity, for building generational wealth. So what can we do to support them? The data showed us also that within the community, because we have what I call a liberatory framework, it's really us figuring out how to solve things for us and our allies working with us to figure out how to solve things, as opposed to hoping for policy changes, which we have to work on, but what can we actually do? Turns out that the data showed us that there was $1.6 trillion being spent by that community that we're serving, but they weren't necessarily reinvesting it in their own communities and their own businesses. So we started a movement to leverage the resources that were already in the community called Make Every Friday Black Friday. Back to the data, 1 out of 7 Americans is Black, 1 out of 7 days. We're asking folks to support a Black-owned business, because the data also showed that when someone in our community makes $1, it usually circulates less than 24 hours within the same community, while other communities, the dollars were circulating 17 to 30 days. So they were keeping the money in the community before they were really sharing it with others. So we needed to find a way to motivate people to understand the importance around making every Friday Black Friday to grow the economy within the community. The next piece.
Okay. All right. So, definitely, first off, Make Every Friday Black Friday, is a tremendous way to create awareness. You had Whoopi Goldberg,
Yes.
actually did a video for you guys as well, which is great. And, saying Make Every Black Friday is nice, but how do you do it? So what are you doing to help people do that?
Yeah, so that's kind of the foundation, right? First, understanding that we have wealth in our community, and how do we redistribute it and encourage people to redistribute it so that the whole community can prosper was one thing. That's a movement, and that's important. But giving people the tools to actually do that. So we created a directory of over 30,000 Black-owned businesses across the country, across those 25 states. We have, all these businesses in 30 plus categories that we are making sure people know where to shop. So if we ask you to make every Friday Black Friday and we don't give you the tools to find these businesses, you may not know where the plumber is, or the lawyer is, or the mental health professional, or the artist, et cetera. So the Village Black Pages is the tool that we give to everyone to say, this is how you help us make every Friday Black Friday and find these businesses. So the next layer, though, beyond that, is saying, okay, now we've told you what to do. We've given you the tool to do it. How do we make sure those businesses are ready for your business so they can grow?
Excellent. So I'm just going to back it up to the directory, because I think the directory is critical in many ways. Number one, allows people to understand how to really, act on it. There was a book written several years ago. The author's name escapes me, but it's called My Black Year. She and her family decided that they're going to only buy from Black-owned businesses for a year.
Yeah, I read that book. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was sort of about the story and how challenging it was to actually do that. So having a directory like that really can really make a difference. The other side is most Black businesses, their biggest challenge is generating sales and revenues.
Absolutely.
Lacking marketing and sales skills, expertise, investment. So
Mhm.
being able to help with that can go a long way towards keeping Black businesses in business as well as helping them grow. Um, but the next step is important because, just because you get business doesn't mean that that's all they need. So
Right.
what else is needed in the equation?
Yeah. So, one of the things we like to build upon what we've built, right? So we started the movement around making every Friday Black Friday. We provided the resource for the Village Black pages, but we also promote those businesses. So to your point, being listed in our directory and having access to it is absolutely free. So as a nonprofit, we raise funds so that we can make these resources free. There are lots of other organizations that have tried and individuals have tried to create directories, but we thought it was important that we made sure that it was free because a lot of them charge, making sure that we promote it so that people can use it. But more than that, we wanted to make sure that the businesses, as you mentioned, were prepared for the business. So we promote them every Friday. We have an e-newsletter and social media. So we highlight businesses every Friday. And in addition to that, we provide them with a resource called the Village Empowerment Network. So what we do with the Village Empowerment Network, which because we're partnering with Small Business Pro University, thank you very much, Andrew, we provide businesses support, one-on-one counseling for strategy, getting access to capital, putting together their sales and marketing plans, you name it, what their needs are, we try to address. So they can go on our website, register in like 2-3 minutes, and then get connected to a counselor to support them so that they can have the fundamentals under their belt. You need to have expertise to do the things that you do for your product or service, but you also need sometimes the support of other experts. So we have so many business owners who are great with their business idea or executing on their service or product, but they don't understand the business part of running the business, the financial strategies and operations or the marketing. So we provide that through the Village Empowerment Network. And it's not just coaching, as you know, since you help us run it, but it's also online training and networking opportunities.
Okay, excellent. So Dr. Michelle Scott has a couple questions. So just for greater clarity. So I think definitely we should take a sec.
Okay.
First one is, great directory. Do you share it with others? And of course, she answered her own question. So now she wants to know, how do you access the directory? And
So if you go to our website, empowerthevillage.org, and click on the Village Black pages, it's a drop down in the programs, but it's also on the homepage. If you click on that, you go straight to our page. And in addition to accessing businesses listed, you can nominate a business. So we have a lot of organic growth of the directory. You can go in, nominate a business to be added to the directory. My team will take a look at the nomination and push it through, and they'll be added to the Village Black pages.
Excellent. So tremendous program. She had also asked about, how does your nonprofit empower other nonprofits? And I would take that a step further and say, not just other nonprofits, but also how do you empower Black businesses? Because not only do you talk about stuff, you actually do business with Black businesses.
That's right. Yeah, we definitely walk the talk, right? So ultimately, when you talk about the village is a compilation of individuals, businesses, corporations, nonprofits, civic organizations. So we engage and partner all the time with local churches and other organizations that are helping us to spread the word. But we also partner with them on their program. So a good example is we are starting our Black mental health initiative called Village Assist. And what we do there is we are negotiating and partnering with Black wellness professionals, therapists, et cetera. They are business owners, and we're engaging them to provide discounted services to the community. So we are paying them to provide a service, just like we partner with Andrew and others who provide counseling. So we support those businesses, but then we partner with local churches who are helping us to host our group healing circles, the group therapy sessions, et cetera. So we partner with churches, we partner with civic organizations. We've partnered with Zufall Health as an example when we were dealing with COVID and testing and vaccination. So we came together with them and provided free testing and access to vaccinations because we're always looking for those who are aligned with our goals and objectives and figuring out how to partner. They are the village. So for us, it's just a natural, extension of who we are and what we're about to partner with nonprofits and with for-profit Black-owned businesses.
Great. Thanks, Michelle, for your question. Definitely.
Great question. Yeah.
Great to hear it. So, I think that, you've even taken it one step further this year. You had your first Black Business Expo in Black History Month. So talk a little bit about what that is and why that came about.
Yeah, I mean, so it's one thing to, promote Black-owned businesses and encourage consumers to support them every Friday, and every day would be great. It's another thing to give them a resource to find the businesses, and then also to, coach those businesses to success and making sure that they can sustain themselves. But the next thing is to give a platform for people to come out and see the businesses in action and meet the business owners and educate them holistically, right? So our Empowerment Expo, first time this year during Black History Month, another one is coming in February 2024. We partnered with Bloomfield College. That was the site of the expo, and we had a marketplace of vendors who were selling their goods and services and promoting themselves there for a nominal fee. And we also had an entrepreneurship kind of track and workshops about how to, prepare yourselves for success, how to get on those lists for, diversity opportunities with corporations. We had a speaker talking about, what it is to work on your business, not just in your business. So we had a great keynote speaker from EY who also wrote a book about that. And you, Andrew, and others, experienced entrepreneurs, were on a panel to discuss, insights and answer questions. So it was really an educational opportunity. Plus, we added the new Village Ventures business pitch competition. What we learned, and you learn as you grow your business, right? So as we started to coach businesses, some of the things that we thought were true in terms of lack of access to capital, et cetera, we learned were 100% a challenge, cash flow and other things. And so the business pitch competition was an opportunity to recruit more businesses to be a part of the network, but also to prepare those businesses to answer the questions that a lot of financial institutions have about why they should loan them money, right? So we had them work with our coaches to prepare their pitch. We were lucky enough to have Precious Williams, the pitch master, be one of the MCs for the pitch competition. And so we had 14 businesses that applied, and we were able to get down to 7 finalists, and they ultimately presented their business and gave out financial awards, over $10,000 to businesses. And I'm happy to say we keep in touch with those businesses, and a lot of them are doing really, really well and leverage those dollars exactly the way they said that they would, and they've seen great success from that.
Okay. Excellent. So, you have a suite of programs that support your mission and vision. And, based on everything I've seen, it's probably the most comprehensive solution for empowering the Black business community. And, it's important in that, but even just every business owner can take things away from that. One, you had a growth strategy and a growth plan. So not only did you maintain and grow what you did, every year you added to it as you learned more, as you developed more. And that doesn't just happen by itself. So talk a little bit about your strategic planning and growth, how you develop your growth. And I think, you've got your team bringing together, how are you able to do that so successfully? I would say all this you've done in 5 years, right?
Yeah, actually 3, but we've been in existence 5 years, but actively recruiting and engaging for the last 3. So we had our pandemic spurt, if you
Okay.
will. So
So
growth spurt.
yeah, so talk a little bit about that, because most nonprofits, most businesses never even achieve near what you've achieved in such a short period of time. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would say that, the first 2 years we did spend 2018 and 2019 focus on the learning and the research and, the listening. And then we, had to spring into action very quickly in 2020 because we felt like the timing was right and the need had grown exponentially for the work that we were trying to do. So the data, again, unfortunately revealed that 41% of Black-owned small businesses either closed temporarily or permanently as a result of the pandemic. So there was a crisis that kind of pushed us forward, in addition to the health crisis with regard to COVID that made us really take the reins and start partnering sooner to execute. But every year we have a strategic retreat with our board and council. I think it's so important to take the time on a regular basis. We're all busy running our businesses, but if we have to use our time as valuably as we possibly can, it's great to work hard. It's better to work smart. So we come together with some super smart people who make the time because they believe in our vision. And so our board and our council are critical to pressure test and brainstorm about what it is we want to do. So we take time regularly to do that. We meet 3 times a year with our advisory council. I'm lucky enough to have some informal conversations throughout the year with different members of the council and my board to help give direction. So it's not me or just my team. We're a small but mighty team sitting alone in a room. We have we have a brain trust that we tap into. And so I would say to any business owner, you really need to make sure that your strategy and what your plans are pressure tested by people who will not let you get away with, that's good. I have a mantra about good, better, best, never let it rest until what's good is better and what's better is your best. So we're always trying to find ways to improve and enhance and be strategic about our approach. We get smarter as we go and as we grow.
okay, excellent. So we've got another question here. When you talk about local and you talk about your village, what is the composition of your village? What's the size, and how do you determine your village?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, I think it's an unlimited size, so the village is really any individuals, companies, organizations that are like-minded, right? They're interested in the advancement of the Black community. They are interested in having racial equity. They care about the health and well-being, the prosperity of the community. So the village is whoever believes in what we believe in and wants to take part in that. So we're local and we're national, right? So we have relationships within specific counties where we're focusing. So an example, just going back to the data and talking about how that helps us decide who and how and when we partner. So I'll take Ohio as a good example. So Ohio has 88 different counties, but there are only 8 counties in Ohio that represent 86% plus of the Black population. So we identify those churches, those chapters of Divine Nine organizations and civic groups that are in those counties, and we develop relationships with them to see what they're interested in, what they're doing, let them know what we're doing. And so we often find that they and corporations that have footprint and employees in different areas want to work with us because they have similar interests. And so our village just keeps growing. The more we share what we're doing, the more we find that there are others who want to be a part of the work, so much so that we're starting to become more official about our volunteers. We have a village volunteers program that we're launching beginning of 2024 because there are so many people who want to find a way to help us. So we've started to form committees to execute on our events and some of our programs because it's just important for everyone to be a part of this.
Excellent. Excellent. So, one of the biggest challenges for most businesses and the most important job of a business owner is sales and marketing. Um, and, that's something that, every business has to accomplish. And the first step in that is market research. And, I like, definitely the data driven is really a big piece of that is market research. If you just went out there without the research, you'd probably be focusing your energies in more than 8 counties in Ohio. And, as a result, your marketing efforts wouldn't be nearly as effective.
Absolutely. I mean, we all have limited resources, right? We can't boil the ocean,
Right.
but we have to, be just prioritize, I guess, is, where you want to go so that you can get the most bang for your energy.
Right. And just focus on the right target market, who were the most likely people to, find value in what you're doing. So that's true for all businesses, but unfortunately, many businesses don't take that time and effort to really do that. So as a business owner, the more and better you do that, more successful you're going to be. And so the first part is, figuring out who your target market is. And that's really the research part. The next step to marketing is developing your messaging. Once you know who you're trying to reach, what do you say to them? Talk a little bit about how you've developed it and what is your messaging centered around.
It takes a lot of work to fine tune your message. I can't say that we started out, knowing everything we should say and how to say it. But I will say that, focus groups, I call it a listening tour, but we had a lot of focus group conversation. And we make sure that our board and our advisory council is representative of the community that we want to partner with and that we want to serve so that we can test our messaging, right? I'm very lucky to have some board members who have backgrounds in communications and marketing, et cetera. So they're great for me in terms of testing different messages, but it's critically important to stay connected to your customer or your audience. So we have a couple of different platforms that we use. We have a weekly, or some people say you get something from us every week or every day, but it's not every day. 2 or 3 times a week, we do send out an e-blast to our mailing list about what we're up to and providing information to them, celebrating and promoting businesses or different programs that we have. We now have, as you mentioned, Andrew, a couple of events that are signature events, so people know they're going to come and learn something new about what we're up to, and they can engage with each other. So, first quarter of the year, we started for the first time our Empowerment Expo that you spoke about. The second quarter, we're into our third Juneteenth art celebration where we celebrate Black art and bring the community together. We just started our Power Walk in July, Power Walk for Mental Health in July, because that's National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And this is our second Power Swing Classic golf outing where there's networking and also a celebration of successful Black businesses. So it's one thing to buttress and support businesses that are growing, but they need examples. They need to see what success looks like. So our North Star celebration is a part of that. And then, we're back at it with Black Friday and the Black Friday Challenge and helping people with the shopping challenge to give back and gain from the business community.
Excellent. So yeah, you're doing the communication, and then you actually talked a little bit about, the next step in marketing is really, you do find your target market, you develop your messaging, and then how do you reach your target market? And I would say that it seems like you do send an email every day.
We have a lot to say.
I'm surprised that you're saying that you don't.
We're a little busy. We have a lot to say.
But actually, it's great because, it's not just the email, but it's actually valuable information. Sharing things that you may not know, sharing. So it's not just, you're getting the same email or something else. Every single one is thought out, you put effort into it. So I don't know how you do all that, but I think it's
I have a great team, thankfully. Yeah.
So between that, social media, so you have a multifaceted approach at outreach and reaching people, which is tremendous. Time really flies when you're having fun. So, we're getting pretty close to the end.
Okay.
But, we've covered a lot of good stuff. But, I think that one thing that you've done is had a holistic approach to what you're doing. And, how have you been able to do that? And, what are some of the keys for business owners to really take to, really have a holistic approach to what they're doing rather than just doing good in just certain areas, but not holistically?
I think the most important thing is to have a growth mindset, right? If you believe that you can achieve something, you're very likely to achieve it. If you have doubts and you're not sure, we all have our good days and our bad days. Keeping that mindset and thinking big, like what is that big thing that I'm trying to accomplish? And then going about, understanding what you need and gathering those resources and getting those people together. You got to think, with a growth mindset and think big, and then start to create your plan, right? I think it's not enough to say, yeah, I want to restore prosperity, peace, and power to the Black community, so I'm going to host an expo to bring Black businesses together. That's not going to solve it. And so we're starting to move into some of the financial literacy and education. We have a Wealthy and Wise program to focus on individuals and families and helping them get themselves together financially. We're looking at student loan debt. We're looking at, first-time buyer support. So we look at the big picture because we have a big vision, right, around restoring prosperity. So there's not just one lever to pull. And so, for me, being holistic is the only way to address systemic and long-standing challenges in a particular community. And so we're going deep, right? We're not just spreading ourselves thin. We'll do a little of this, a little bit of that. We're going deep in the areas that matter because we expect to have results. And you can't get results if you're not being holistic in your approach. And that's why we do things the way we do them.
Excellent. So definitely, since we've covered a lot of things, I always ask my guests to really think about 3 key takeaways, because, you only retain like 30% of what you hear.
Right.
And, usually the human brain can really only handle like 3 things at a time. So we want to make sure we leave you with something that's valuable and actionable. So I'll give Ayo a minute to sort of think through what she wants to leave you with. And what I'll do is just share a little bit about the Small Business Pro Network community that we have for entrepreneurs and business owners. We've made it available for free during our pre-launch phase, which just ended, but we're going to keep it open for a couple more days. So let me share a video so you can see what it is and encourage you to join because it's going to be very valuable. We've already have several hundred members and we're looking to grow significantly.
What's the ultimate business ecosystem for helping entrepreneurs to accelerate and grow their businesses? Of course, it's the Small Business Pro Network.
I got to say, I'm glad I trusted you with your plan because I like the plan, but we are, there's no guarantees and it is a journey, but we're getting there and we're making real solid progress.
Andrew helped me with the growth plan for my business and also in the financial side. So we're able to get loans.
I thought it was great, good practical information that is good for both entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs. Andrew breaks it down in a very understandable way.
You need someone that's going to tell you how to get things done, how to move your business forward, how you can run your business like a pro.
I've known Andrew for 10 years, but when we started working together, I got to see the master's mind. And he's been helping me with my financials, making sure everything's together, what's working versus what's not working in my business, so that I'm working on my business and not in my business, period.
Join the Small Business Pro Network to learn from the experts, collaborate with like-minded entrepreneurs, and access valuable resources for growth. Hello, I'm Andrew Frazier. My mission is to help 1 million business owners by 2028 to sell more, make more, and get financing. I've worked with more than 1,000 business owners one-on-one, helping them to grow revenue, increase profit, and obtain financing. I created the Small Business Pro Network to help you achieve your goals faster and easier. Join before Labor Day to become a charter member for free. Visit www.sbpronetwork.com. I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Okay, welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm here with Ayo Sanderson Wilson, talking small business, and look forward to hearing from you about 3 things that we should definitely look to do to lead our organizations more effectively.
Yeah, so number 1, do your homework, right? Do the research, put in the time to understand your market, understand what your competitors are up to, learn how to improve and enhance whatever your product and service is. Really do your homework to understand where you should open your business, how you should approach your business, what your customers want and need from you. And I think that will save you a lot of headache down the road. Instead of just learning as you go, trying to build the plane while you fly it. Do your homework first. They'll have plenty of time for maneuvers and different things you might want to change along the way. But start out with the research. That's number 1. Number 2, we've said it a couple of times. Build your village. You can't know everything, but you can spend some time understanding what your strengths and weaknesses are, and building a team or a village around you that helps you in those areas that you may need some help. We can't know it all, right? So building that strong village, figuring out who you think could help advise you as you go along, and who you can partner with. You got to partner in order to prosper. Sitting alone, most big corporations have a lot of employees, not just because they want to pay them that much money, because they need them to get the job done. So definitely build your village. And lastly, I would say be bold, right? Have a growth mindset. Believe that you can achieve your goals, and you will. Just push forward. And I think those 3 things, doing your homework, building your village, and being bold with a growth mindset are critical to success in any business or anything you undertake in life.
All right, powerful. So do your homework, do your research, build your village. You want to have a team, you want to have partners, and be bold. Growth mindset. Don't be afraid to change, to make changes, do things differently. You're definitely doing all of those, which is a great example. Appreciate you coming and sharing what you're doing, because looking forward to continuing to see you grow, and it's great to be a part of that and be able to help with that. So
well, thank you, Andrew, not only for having us on tonight, for the great work that you've been doing for so many years. I learned so much from you and Small Business Pro University that there's no way we could do some of the great work that we are proud to do without people like you out there supporting us. So thank you for being part of our village.
Okay, definitely. It's my pleasure. Definitely, wish we had more time, because there's a lot of other things that I would love to talk to you about and people could benefit from. But we'll have to have you back as a guest, and I guess you got a shout out from your story.
Of course I'm a Delta. Who asked that question? Was there any doubt?
Excellent. So I'm going to close things out. Hang on while I close things out, and let's see where we go from there. So once again, had a great guest. Thanks again to Ayo for joining us tonight. Hopefully you found it valuable. Thanks for your questions and comments and participation. Those of you who weren't here, for the live, definitely check out the recording, and you should be able to take away some valuable stuff, and feel free to share with others that you think could benefit. Definitely feel free to check out Ayo's website at www.empowerthevillage.org. Connect with her on LinkedIn, and you can see and experience the great things that she's doing. So thanks again, Ayo. Next week, we're looking forward to another great episode. And our guest next week is Christine Clifton. And we're going to talk about get ready, get set, and flow. Very important message. She's doing some great things and has helped a lot of business owners be more successful. So looking forward to that as well. And, really at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.